Hey there, Stampin' friends. Welcome to Movie Monday with Jody Breckbill, Stampin' Queen. Today I'm going to show you this awesome card. Found this on Pinterest when I was perusing way back at the beginning of the Occasions catalog, and I knew I just had to make it for a WOW class. I really am not sure who did it or where I got it from, but anyway, it is not my idea. It is definitely one that I pin lifted, but I wanted to show you quickly how to do this card and how the balloons look like they're actually kind of 3D, like raised off the paper a little bit, because it's a really cool technique. So we're going to start off with a piece of 3 3/4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White cardstock. And actually, let me back up a minute and show you the stamp sets. We're going to use the Happiest of Birthdays sentiment from the Birthday Bloom set. And yes, this one is in the next catalog. And we're going to use this little border here from Tin of Cards kit, and the Tin of Cards stamp set is going into the next catalog as well. You will see this stamp set in our regular offering. The Tin of Cards is not with us anymore. That is retired and actually sold out, but we do have a new tin coming with a different stamp set and different cards. So definitely look for a class on that, because it is really a neat tin and the cards are awesome. So we're going to use those two stamp sets, starting off with our Happiest of Birthdays and our Watermelon Wonder ink. We're going to stamp that sentiment down in the lower right corner. And then I'm going to take that border and use the Mint Macaron ink and stamp the birthday or the balloon strings. Now you could definitely hand draw them if you want, but I knew that this stamp had the perfect border with the little squigglies, which is super cool. So I thought to make things pretty quick and simple, I would just stamp those using that border. And you want to do them so that there's some highs and lows to the strings so that all your balloons are not going to be in an exact row. Now the next step will be to take your softly falling embossing folder and run that through the Big Shot and do that embossing on the front of this card. So with the magic of television, I have one already done here, and now we're ready to actually start to assemble our card. So I used our Balloon Builder punch, and this one is carrying over to the next catalog. We're going to use the large balloon and punch out 3 balloons from the Birthday Bouquet Designer Series paper. That paper is actually retiring, so if you don't have it and you love it, better grab it. I also took my Early Espresso ink and just did a very light sponge edge on the balloon. So I've already done 2 of them, but I thought I would show you real quickly. I just want to catch the edge, which helps to add a little bit of depth and dimension to those balloons. And again, that was with Early Espresso ink. Now I'm going to take my Stampin' Pierce mat and my 3 balloons, and I'm going to flip them over to the back side that I am not using. I'm going to grab my aqua painter. I'm not going to use the brush end at all. What I want is this rounded end right here. And I'm just going to very carefully push on those balloons, and you'll kind of start to break down the fibers in the paper, and you'll see that they're starting to curl a little bit. So they're actually going to be raised up, and that is how you get those balloons to look a little bit 3D. Now you don't want to push too hard because you don't want to break through your DSP, but you do want to push hard enough that you start to see a little bit of that curl going on. And you can start off and then see what you think. And if it's not curling enough, go back in and do a little bit more pressure. You definitely want to focus on the inside of the balloons. So those 3 are ready to go on our card. Scoot some things out of the way here. To get those guys to stay, we're going to put pop dots on there. And I just did one towards the bottom and one towards the top. And that is enough dimension to help them stick to the card and still keep their rounded appearance. Okay, we're going to peel those guys off. And stick them on the front of our card. Make sure they definitely are stuck to the card because of it being embossed. Sometimes they can not stick down quite as tight as you would want them. So now my next step is I'm going to take a piece of my ultra thick white cardstock. I love this stuff as a card base. It is so thick and heavy and just makes such a nice base for your card. I'm going to grab another strip of designer series paper from our birthday bouquet, and I'm going to attach that right onto the front of my Whisper white base. Then I'm going to do a little strip of let me get it here, silver glimmer paper. And our glimmer paper does not really work well with our snail adhesive. They don't really love each other, so they don't like to stick. So I pull in my fast fuse. You could use sticky strip or tear and tape as well, but you need something that has a little bit more adhesive. Now when you use the fast fuse, you run a strip and then you do a nice check mark to undo the adhesive, or else you kind of get a nice long piece of sticky glue if you don't do the check mark. It takes a little bit of time to get to use it, but once you start using it, let me tell you, you're going to love it because it works so great for all those 3D projects. But it works great with the glitter tape too. So back to my snail adhesive, I'm just going to attach this on the back. You can see I messed up there, and I'm not going to use a new piece of paper. I'm just going to fix what I have. And then this is going to attach to the front of my card base. Okay, so now the next step is going to be making these little bows. What that is actually this little bow die, which comes from our mini treat bag Thinlits set, and I just pulled out the bow. Now, if you want to go a little bit simpler, just cut one of these out and then attach the flower to the center. If you want to make the bow like I did, where you have the multiple loops, you're actually going to need about 7 or 8 of these bows. So you take one of the full bows, the whole thing's cut out, but then the rest of them, all you really need is just the loops, so you don't have to waste your paper by cutting full bows. You're just going to trim it right in half and cut off any of the extra strings. So now you have 3 extra pieces. You're going to come in with some glue dots. And I took one glue dot and I stuck one to the top and then did 2 off to the side. And then I peeled that off very carefully. And it sticks to your fingers a little bit. You can use more glue dots. I'm just trying to be a little bit thrifty here. And you're going to stick that onto your bow, and then you kind of have to move them around to where you want them. So now you have a very loopy bow. Then I am going to take my itty bitty accent punch, and I'm going to punch out a couple of these flowers. And I'm also, that is Calypso Coral. And then I'm going to use the Tree Builder punch because I want that little flower right there. And I'm going to use let me cut that off a little bit. This is Blushing Bride, and I'm just gonna slide that in and give myself one teeny little flower and another glue dot. That'll help stick that right in the center. That, and then also another glue dot on the back of my loopy bow. Oh, I lost my, there we are. Oh, that's what I'm working with. That's going to go right over top of the bottom of your balloon. Come back in again with another glue dot. This definitely is a glue dot heavy project. A flower in the center, and then I'm going to grab a rhinestone. Maybe I'm going to grab a rhinestone, and that rhinestone is going to go right in the center of my flower, and then you can kind of do some adjusting of your bow loops just like you would if you were making a regular bow, and then really give that a good push so it sticks down on your cardstock. So I went ahead and did the bows ahead of time. So here's some more. Now this time I did it a little opposite with the small flower in Calypso Coral and the big flower in Blushing Bride. Stick that to that balloon. And yet another one to my last balloon. Oh, look, that one doesn't have a flower center. Let's make one of those real quick. More glue dots. That goes in the center. Come back in with a couple more rhinestones. I don't have my poker tool with me to use to grab those guys. Okay, make sure they're good and stuck. And my bows are where I want them. And then just to add like a little bit more fun to this guy, card, I just started sticking some rhinestones all over the front, using up what I had. And I don't know if you guys know that these rhinestones here in this long strip are actually attached together. They will come off in one big long strip. So I just snip in between to free up the glue, and then I continue using them. So if you try to pull them apart, they kind of just peel and you lose some of the adhesive on there. So there's how they come off in a big strip. So there you go. There is a fun 3D balloon card for you. Thanks so much for stopping by, and hopefully I'll see you next week for Movie Monday.